it's so important for people to remember to stay humble and to stay vulnerable.
Which is why you doing this podcast is such a smart idea.
God, there's so much gold in there. I mean, there's like all these little pearls of wisdom she's dropping. I admire you. You did a lot of the things that I would coach people on.
Right now, it is a time for entrepreneurs to build their own thing. See who's in your orbit and what can you make together.
Hi, I'm Jim Fielding. Welcome to Ask for an Answer. Hello, everyone, all you kind and beautiful human beings. I am so excited to be bringing you another episode from the LA recording sessions. So just to be clear with everybody, we're recording in December of 2025. These are going to be spring episodes that come out, but I am so excited about this episode because my dear friend Liza Keckler's here, who she taught me so much, and we'll get into that, but she does things that I don't do, and she taught me so much in the time we're working together. We met at Archer Gray. I'm going to tell that story in a little bit, but first, welcome, Liza.
Thank you.
I'm so glad you're here. Why don't you tell them a little bit about your background, your bio, so just they understand the Liza story.
Absolutely. So my background is really mostly in unscripted television. So I have worked in some form of unscripted or alternative TV for 20 plus years. I started out as a producer of shows and was in the field making mostly home improvement shows, things of that nature. I was at the network side, Travel Channel briefly, and then for the last 15 years, I've really focused on development and sales and creating new content. And my most recent endeavor is a little bit of a shift for me. I've expanded out into a creative studio. I started Hedyverse with my partner, Jessica Assetti, and there we are looking at content across media. So we are focused on not just unscripted and alternative TV, but also mobile games and tabletop games.
Which I love.
Yeah, it's really fun.
I love. So we met, Liza and I met, what year was it? I don't even know. What year did you come to Archer Gray?
Was it 22, 23?
2022. Yeah. We met because I was at Archer Gray and I was basically doing consumer products and branded experiences and consulting. And Amy Nayoka's the founder, and the other partners said we want to take Archer Gray into the unscripted business, basically. And so we did a search. It was interesting because it was during COVID. We did a search and met Liza. We met some amazing candidates, actually, for that search, and met Liza. And really, your charter coming into Archer Gray was get us into the unscripted business, the reality, the non narrative business, basically, because the other part of Archer Gray, which Archer Gray was known for, was documentaries and basically narrative film, a little bit of narrative television. So you were everything else. You were everything else. And I was very selfish about it because in consumer products and branding, I always felt like anything you would have created was going to be a bigger opportunity for me because it was more, as we would say, repeatable and franchisable than I loved the content that Archer Gray was creating, but it wasn't really like I always used to say, like, Can You Ever Forgive Me was a great movie, but it wasn't like people really wanted T-shirts that said, Can You Ever Forgive Me? It was not really the kind of content I could do anything with. And so I felt like you and I were attached at the hip from the beginning because we were trying to figure out ideas that, yes, would sell and, could be produced, but also that would create, new opportunities.
Absolutely. And I think you see that with a lot of the successful unscripted shows where you have talent with cookbooks and pots and pans and products because you develop a relationship with somebody and you love this expert, they know this thing very well, and then there's a line in Target.
And we always talked about, I remember one of the phrases you taught me, highly repeatable formats. Highly repeatable was that was a phrase I had never used. And I loved us working together because we did a ton of brainstorming and a ton of blue sky. Because we were like, first off, what does the world want, or what does the consumer want to watch? what could we sell, but also what is Archer Gray? Like we would have to have a lot of conversations about what is our, because there were certain things that we weren't going to do salacious. We weren't going to do, there were certain words, we had filters we weren't going to do.
Well, it's interesting. It's like part of the reason I was excited to join Archer Gray is because there wasn't a slate of of things that they were known for. I'd always worked at production companies where they had a track record, they had a voice, a style, things that they were really good at, whether it was celeb reality or documentary or more like true crime or something like that. It was a little bit of a clean slate, but still Archer Gray had a voice. There were very, very specific kind of films, and it was prestige programming, which it felt like we could bring that like point of view and authorship to product or to unscripted, and it would be premium, which is it's hard to go from sort of like trash reality into premium, but if you have a premium voice and you can build out shows around that, that's a great opportunity. And because a lot of the stories that the narrative team would tell were true stories, that's also a great opportunity to take those stories and tell them in multiple ways.
No, we had great strategy.
Yes.
We had a lot. It was hard. I mean, it was really, really, it was a hard time too, I think, with COVID and everything else. But we developed some incredible projects.
Yeah.
I mean, and I think you were such an amazing partner because you were always like, you were looking at everything that was in development and trying to figure out what's another angle, we could do with this. What's another format we could do with this? I think it was great.
It was, the timing, the entertainment industry overall has been in a challenging situation for the last 4 years, I think, and there's been a lot of contraction, a lot. I think anybody you talk to in entertainment is going to speak to this, whether it's the strikes or mergers and acquisitions.
The consolidation and strikes, for sure.
It's hard, which is why you doing this podcast is such a smart idea, because I think right now it is a time for entrepreneurs to build their own thing.
It is,
Yeah.
No, I mean, doing podcasting isn't easy either, and it's super competitive and it's crowded. And I mean, I'm so grateful for the people that have like kind of taken me under their wing and taught me podcasting at the same time. I mean, because it's a really crowded space, but I at the core, you and I are both storytellers, and that to me is like, and honestly, the podcast came out because at the beginning of the year, I had a lot of speaking and coaching gigs that with the pushback on DEI and the cancellations of government contracts and all that got canceled. And so all of a sudden I had time, like I had free time. And I was like, I always thought about doing podcasting. I thought maybe this is a message from the universe to use some of that time and try this new format, try this new way of telling stories. It wasn't like on an Oprah vision board. Like it definitely was more of an opportunistic, like, oh, let's try a podcast. And I've learned a ton. I mean, it's been, which is part of the game. I learned a ton at Archer Gray too. So
and that was one of the exciting things I thought about Archer Gray is we were really encouraged to be entrepreneurial and like build that business and work together. It was a small enough team, so everybody was collaborative, and I felt like I was learning from you and from Amy and everyone, and Vinay and Kelsey and Rebecca and Kate and everybody. Like it was really great.
Yeah, and we had external forces, to your point, that were really challenging. I mean, the strike was so challenging. COVID was challenging. I mean, like trying to be a small independent producer and developer during COVID, then the writer's strike, then just the market, the consolidation, the marketplace, people weren't buying. I mean, and what was hard, and listen, I give them credit, but a lot of what was selling in your space was stuff that Archer Gray wouldn't have done.
Yep.
Like that was hard. And I think that was a learning for all of us.
And I think that was, there are all of these little pivots you do whenever you're at a company and you're building slates and you sort of go in and you think one thing and then you encounter whatever your first obstacle is and you adapt, and you can't get too mad at it because it's just that's the thing you're up against, and you tweak and you change and you figure out what's another pathway, but you still have to make a choice about what are the stories you're going to tell and what is the tone and how are you going to present yourself in the world. And I think we could have developed a lot more that was more sellable and that was meeting the marketplace where it was at. But I don't think that was going to be stuff Anne or Amy or you and I wanted to put out as.
I mean, the brand filters were so good for legitimate reasons.
Yep.
But at the same time, they were hard, particularly in the unscripted and reality space, because what the buyers were asking you for, because I remember you still have incredible relationships, and you'd come back with what they were looking for, and we'd be like, we don't do Bachelor in Paradise. We don't do, Dancing with the Stars season 34 or whatever they're on, competition shows. And although we tried, we came up with some, but I mean, the list that you were getting from the buyers was hard for us to compete with.
For sure.
But I still love some of the stuff that we did.
Yeah.
As you look back on that time, what were your 2 or 3 biggest learnings from that period? Because I think about that for myself too,
I think one of my biggest learnings has been just having clarity about what it is you think is right, what choice you think is right, and advocate for it. And don't feel like you are being combative.
Yeah.
Or fighting with anyone. You're just, I always feel like somebody knows more than me.
But they don't.
Perhaps they don't.
Yeah, but I was going to say, they don't. But I mean, I remember exactly what you're talking about. I mean, it was challenging. I mean, it was good because I think we were all growing and we were trying to birth something that didn't exist, but it was challenging for sure.
And I think sort of going back, going back in time to redo things again, I think we made a lot of really good choices. I think the market was just in a really, really terrible place, and it was contracting, and it was really, really bad timing. And I think there's always little micro tweaks you could do to adjust the strategy or adjust what you're going to come out with. And I think part of the challenge always is if you want to do, one of the pathways to do super premium doc stuff is you have to have a little pool of money that you can use to option things. And in the absence of that, you're ideating and you're generating your own content because you have to have some intellectual property to share. And I still think you've got to have that little pile of development money to get those articles or that book or something like that.
Yeah, that author or something.
That's
I agree.
a necessary thing to do. And it's sometimes that's just not there, or you can't compete at the level other competition is coming into the world with.
For sure. No, I think that was a big lesson for all of us.
Yeah.
Was that the development funds and but I mean, a crowded, competitive, complex marketplace. When you think back on our slate, because I think there's a couple, we had a couple that were our favorites, though. I mean,
I'm still pitching one of them.
Oh, you are? Which one?
Yeah. I can't talk about it.
Oh, you can't talk? Okay.
But I mean, Amy, I've been keeping her in the loop on everything, and she basically said when we sort of wound down, she said take the slate and keep running with it if you can. And so there's one. We had a pitch yesterday morning, and we've got another pitch next Wednesday on it. So we're still trying.
Love that. I love that.
Because you never know, it
could be the right time.
There's so many things that I really feel like these are stories, they're great, they could run forever. It's just about finding the right moment, the right time.
No,
But
it's like the key in the lock. It's got to fit.
yeah,
It's
but
gotta
I've got
fit.
great partners attached to it, and
Wow.
they are fantastic, and they believe in it. So
Oh
not
my
dead yet.
God. That makes me so happy.
Yeah,
I love it. Like, that's a little gift you brought. That's like
Yeah.
a holiday gift.
holiday gift.
That's, oh my God, I can't wait to hear how that goes.
Yes.
Okay, so talk to me about Hedyverse though, because I'm
Yes.
really interested in what you're building and your partner and all that kind of stuff. It's so fascinating.
So after I left Archer Gray, I really, given the state of the marketplace, I was kind of like, well, that was fun. And I thought I'm going to have to pivot. The word of 24 was pivot. Like what else are you going to do? So I took a little bit of a trip with the family and just took a break. And then I started thinking about what else could I do. And I had always done a lot of fundraising for nonprofits. And I thought, well, maybe I can get some training and I'll do that. And so I was like, okay, I'm just going to focus on that and go all in. And it didn't have the same, I didn't have the same fire in my belly with that as I always had with more creative development.
Right.
And I started talking to a friend of mine who she had a long career in games. So tabletop, mobile games. She had spent 20 plus years in the space. She had built up a company, was a partner in that, sold it, was running the games division for that other company. And I had recently left that sort of big job. And she was like, I don't know if I want to do this anymore. I'm not sure what I'm going to do. And we started talking and realized that our experiences in these worlds were quite similar. And we both really felt like we had something to say. And if we brought them together, we could have like a chocolate and peanut butter situation where we could make content that could go across platform, game, television, mobile games. And some ideas are going to be better in one form than the other, but then they could migrate through. Because if you look at the game aisle, there's all of these licensed, you know this.
Yeah, for sure.
All of these licensed IPs and all of the content I've made over the years, I don't have a stake in it. I'm just a work for hire employee. And so I really have just sort of changed not my tune, but it felt like an opportunity to build something that I had a stake in, and I got to own this IP. So we have built this company, Hedyverse. We're a creative IP studio, and we have clients. We have money in the door. We have 2 paying clients right now, which is great.
It's huge.
We're building out games for them. We have the one thing I can share that has been announced is one of our first clients, ASMODEE, is a large gaming company based in France, and we have been working with them to build a game imprint called Moodbox Games. And it was recently announced. I can't talk about the games that are in this launch, but it's all about games that are going to boost your dopamine levels, your serotonin, that are fun to play together, that are really just party games that are going to bring people together and have a lot of fun.
That's huge.
So I'm excited about that. And then we have a whole slate of games that we're building in both the digital space and the tabletop space that we will own and self-publish. And then we're still able to develop ideas for the unscripted television world as well.
I love that.
Yeah. And then we're talking to people in the TV space saying, do you want a game? And we have creators that we're working with as well. And they have large platforms on the internet and they have an idea for a game. So we can be that service provider for them to make the physical product.
That's huge. Is it just the 2 of you?
Yep.
That's fun too.
It is. And I think part of this also came from, I've been doing some work with the Television Academy and peer circles where we're all sharing sort of conversations once a month about where are we bring in experts and we talk about things. And one of the things I started realizing through that process over the last 2 years was look to your left, look to your right, see who's in your orbit and what can you make together.
Yeah. I love that. I love that collaboration and the collective.
Yeah.
Because we are all in it together. I mean, the dynamics of the marketplace and the complexities and the competition of the marketplace, everybody's facing those same dynamics. So I mean, I think even as a consumer, I understand how hard it is for fresh ideas to cut through in this marketplace. Because, like I said, I'm not making fun of Dancing with the Stars. I respect what they've done, but when I saw that it was like season 34 or whatever, I was like, oh my God, like it's season 34, and I know it's still going in Britain as well. And I was like, yeah, and like Survivor and Amazing Race and all that. I'm like, these have been around a long time. It's hard. It's hard for anything fresh to kind of cut through.
And I think the buyers want that. They desperately want
Yeah.
something fresh. But those shows are the ones that people turn up for. And so, like, you got to keep that going as long as you can to keep that audience there while you're looking for your next hit. And if you think about, like, performance competition series, American Idol was the show for a long time. And then The Voice came in and was like, oh, here's a fresh new approach
Take.
to it. And I would say for the last 8 years, everybody's like, what's the next voice? What's the next? So I think it's just a matter of time before
Yeah.
somebody figures out what that is.
Yeah, no, I know. It's funny because when I was at Fox, I remember when I first saw the pitch on The Masked Singer, which is another one that like is just
Yeah.
blown up. I mean, and I remember that was a format that they had found in Thailand, and they kind of showed me the Thai show, and I was like, I don't really get this, right? First off, it was in Thai, so I didn't really understand it, but but now watching the phenomenon that's become.
Yeah.
But I don't think anyone knew it was going to be a phenomenon. Like, I think everything was like a test, basically.
Yeah.
And like it hits, and then they figure out how to roll.
I am sure the producers of that knew it was going to be a hit.
Oh, yeah, I'm sure they told us. I'm trying to think back. I'm sure they told us it was going to be the biggest hit. But
Yeah.
but I think
You never can tell.
you can't tell. You can't tell. What in your space right now, is there anything new that you found that you're watching or that you're interested in? I'm trying to think even in what I'm watching. Oh, I know.
Yeah.
Squid Game Challenge, I'm into.
They do such a good job.
I mean,
Yeah.
first off, it's a lot of money. But
Yes.
I mean, because that's one, like when I watch it, I'm like, oh, we could have done that. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
we didn't own Squid Game. But I think it's an example of what we were trying to do, because there's Squid Game.
Yep.
And then this was like a scripted reality competition show off of Squid Game, Squid Game Challenge. And I enjoy it. I do. The social experiment of it all, the high stakes, the background stories, like we just finished it. Like, I mean, that's one that I would say is relatively new, right? The 2
It's very,
seasons.
I think that's very new. And it's phenomenal that they were able to create an unscripted version of that show
Yeah.
because it's such a world.
Yeah. And it's dark. The show,
Yeah.
the origin story is dark. I mean, the origin show is dark. I mean, so.
And when the people die and
Yeah,
the little packs,
the fact that they
faked
create.
it. It's brilliant.
And some of them are so dramatic when
Yeah.
they go off. But no, I agree with you. Like I think if I had been an executive or like somebody was pitching that to me, it's like, okay, well, Squid Game is a really big deal. We've come up with a reality show. I think I would have like laughed him out of the room because
Yeah.
I couldn't imagine it. But it works.
It does. It works
works.
great. I've been watching a lot of documentaries, just like biography documentaries, the Charlie Sheen doc.
Yeah.
Pee Wee Herman is certainly not very new. I use a lot of my watching hours to research for whatever it is I'm preparing
Yes.
right now.
Yes.
And I'm working on 2 documentaries about people, like characters. And so I've been sort of like researching all of like, how are people approaching interviews? How are people handling recreations and that sort of thing?
Yes. It feels like there's been a lot of them lately too. You're right.
Yeah, I think
Like
there's
Luther Vandross I watched.
Yeah.
Like, yeah.
there's always a waves of these things.
Yeah.
A lot of sports docs.
Yeah. Which one did we see when we were in Sundance?
We saw Little
Richard, right? Little
Yeah.
Richard. No, I was just thinking, wait a minute, we saw one together at Sundance.
Yeah, that was fun. I really liked that.
Yeah, that was fun. That was a fun trip.
That was a fun trip.
I came home with COVID from that trip.
You
Remember?
did?
Remember we had like a COVID outbreak.
Oh, that's right.
We had a COVID outbreak. It wasn't just me.
Yeah, I don't.
That was my first case of COVID, was after
Yes.
Sundance.
Ugh.
I was thinking I was like the Incredible Hulk or something.
Yeah.
Like had superhuman powers, and
Yeah.
I'd been all around me and people were getting it and I hadn't gotten it. And I thought something about my genetics, I'm immune. And then
Turns out no.
I remember being on the plane flying home from Salt Lake City and was like, I think I have this COVID thing, because I felt so bad. And I think it was like 3 of us that got it.
Yeah, I feel like Rebecca or
Yeah.
Kelsey maybe.
Yeah, no, I feel like out of the house,
Yeah.
like we, because we had those events and stuff, I
Yeah.
feel like, it's
Shocked
so
I didn't get it.
I know you didn't.
Or maybe I did and I just can't remember.
Did you ever have it?
Oh, yeah, I've had it a bunch.
I don't remember.
I had it just before all of the shutdowns. I had a really bad case of COVID.
I'm pretty sure I did too.
And then when my kids went back to school for the first time in person, we all got it then. And then
Those kids, they're super
filthy.
spreaders.
They really
Super
are.
spreaders.
And then I had it one other time, but it was like a really light version, and I got some other drug that they give you that makes it go away quickly. I forget the name of that.
I
Maybe
know.
my memory is.
No, it's like, yeah, and my long-term symptom is I have no memory.
It's a blessing and a curse.
It's so funny. My long-term symptom is sinus. Like I feel like I'm constantly. I don't have long COVID. Please hear me,
Yes.
listeners. I'm not saying I have long COVID,
Yeah.
but like I feel like my hangover from the couple of times I've had COVID is I get sinus congestion.
Oh, yeah.
And I've talked to other people who like that's their symptom.
Yeah.
And like the plugged ears when I fly, I have to wear plugs now.
Interesting.
I know that, and that's definitely post
Yeah.
COVID. I blame it on COVID. Blame it on COVID.
Blame it
It's
on
just
COVID.
easier.
Yeah.
It's just easier. So, when you're out now talking about Hedyverse, like, do you feel like the market is getting? It's never going to get easier, but is it changing again? Do you feel another dynamic or?
I think it is changing quite a bit, and it's tough because we're small, right?
Yeah, right,
So
right.
we are small, and we are living in a world where everybody is chasing IP, and their game IP is popular. And there have been some announcements recently where Catan, Monopoly, Clue. There's some of these big name, like household name brands
Yes.
that have been announced as we're developing a show.
Right.
And they're developing it with partners that make a lot of sense to me. They're developing it with like Studio Lambert. They make Squid Game the Challenge. They are built, they have a machine that can make these big challenge competition shows. And so we're small. And so how can we show up? Like you can't just be
Yes.
like, oh, it's over. We
Yes.
can't do this.
Yes.
How can we show up and still provide value and have control? And this is part of the reason sort of like the 3 legs of the company makes sense for me, because on the tabletop board game space, there's also a challenge of tariffs. We're dealing with these massive tariffs that, all we're doing is we're importing paper products essentially in a game, but now they are 30 to 40% more expensive than they were a year ago. So the digital mobile space is helpful for us to have that little pillar to be able to be like, okay, we can just build it and we can make it.
Right.
And so figuring out how we can just do the most important thing, which in my mind is make something of value,
Right.
build IP, come up with an idea, execute on it as well as you can, and then get it out into the world. And I think
And see what they're going to do with it.
see what people are gonna do with it.
Yeah, I agree with
and
you.
don't wait around for the green light, because I've been holding my breath waiting for green lights,
Yeah.
for so long.
Yeah.
And what people green light now are things where there's a proven fan base. It's a game that everybody plays. It's a book everybody's read. It's a podcast everybody's watched. So how do you back into that? If you don't have your pile of money to buy those things, then you have to build them. And so that's where I'm just like, Jessica and I are capable of building these things. People have paid us for years to do that for them. Let's build it for ourselves.
No, I think it's such a smart approach. Yeah, because I think in general, and I see the same thing in, the spaces that I coach in and I speak in, which is primarily, retail, a little bit of media and entertainment, healthcare a little bit. And I think I think people are risk averse, you know, and I think there's been so much change in the world. It's interesting that you bring up tariffs because I think in retail, obviously, that's all we talk about is tariffs
Yeah.
because, you know, all the costs have gone up, and then are they going to pass the cost on to their consumer? And if they pass the cost on to the consumer, it's not going to be a value to their consumer anymore. Like it's been a really interesting year in the coaching and advising space. Because like one of the things in my book is control the controllable, but leave space for the possible. But that control the controllable, people aren't sure what's controllable. So I think your example of, okay, digital mobile, we can control, we can own that IP. I think that's great. It's wisdom because you're saying I can control this because you can't control the tariffs and you don't know. They
Nope.
could go up, they could go down, they could go away. Like, I mean, I think that's so it's so smart what you're doing.
Yeah. And there's also like opportunity now, like there never has been before. And if you look at the creator economy
Yeah.
or that space, the people who are really winning there are ones who have, for whatever reason, whether it's luck or their brilliance or anything else, they have managed to make something on their own and just put it out there. They're not waiting for HBO to say, yes, you're greenlit, you're going to make it happen. And they're just continuing to build. And not every success is a tremendous success, but there's something that has worked and somebody is connecting to them. And maybe their fan base is just small, but it's a very dedicated, engaged
yes,
fan base.
Yes, I think that's a really good point.
Like that's good enough. That's good enough for a creative life.
Yeah, no, I mean, I think that's really interesting what you're saying because I think it's like about managing expectations, right? And it's these standards and these expectations, and I do think these kind of like almost like micro approaches. Like not everything is going to be this huge home run, right? I mean, it's not possible. It's just not humanly and physically possible that everything's going to be a huge home run. So I think the kind of test and roll concept and the let's put it out there and see what the fans are going to do about it. Like I think it's one of the things I loved about working with you is we were always talking about fans. We were always talking about consumers, right? We needed, for my business to work, we needed fans. Like, I mean, we needed not only fans, we needed engaged fans. We needed rabid fans. Like even casual fans weren't enough. Like we needed people that liked the content so much they were willing to buy product or experiences based off of it. You know? And not everything was going to be Stranger Things. Not everything was going to be Squid Game. There was a lot of smaller ones underneath there. But I think the problem in our industry is like you get a Squid Game or you get a Stranger Things or you get a Bridgerton, and then that becomes the benchmark for everybody. And that's just so unfair because we can't do it.
It's hard. I mean, I think in the unscripted space, that bar is set by Love is Blind, Love Island. I think those are relationship shows. Everybody wants a relationship show, but it's got to be better than those.
Yeah.
And they're so broad and they work, but it's hard to even compete sometimes.
Yeah, and it's hard to, I mean, what's the next version of that? Like, I think that's what's hard too, is like they kind of, I mean, those are formats that work, but I don't know what another Love is Blind, Love Island, like, I mean, I don't really know what the next version is of that. I mean,
I don't know. And you keep trying, you try to figure it out and you ideate and you find something that clicks and then all of a sudden you're like, oh, that's an idea right there.
yeah, but you got to kiss a lot of frogs, right? I mean, it's a lot of, I think that's what one of the things I learned from working with you is just like when you talk about a slate, you have to have a lot of things on a slate, right? Like you have to have, like I was thinking, well, a slate's like 8 or 10. And I'm like, oh no, that's not enough. Like we have to have multiples because you don't really know what's going to work with a certain set of buyers or what's going to work with a certain platform or, I mean, it's quite,
and you
have very educational.
You have to be pitching at a pace that people know that you are thinking about them, thinking about that genre, that and that you're an expert in it in some way. And then, but not so much that, they're going to not want to take your pitches. It has to be like just enough to have them excited when you show up that, oh, you're bringing me something. I'm going to perk up here and listen a little bit. So it can't be like a shotgun approach, but at a pace that's enough to where they don't forget about you.
Yeah, no, I think that's super interesting. Well, you brought up something earlier. I want to go back to the kind of pivot and like the Hedyverse, because I think, the new theme of this podcast, this ask for an answer, like you had a couple of ask for an answer moments. So I want to ask, using kind of my ask for an answer vernacular, of when you saw everything going on and you were like in between, you had left Archer Gray, thought maybe it was going to be nonprofit fundraising, fund development. What was your thought process like when you were like, okay, I'm going to pivot again, and here's why? Because I think that's such an ask for an answer moment. Like,
I think my process was really to be very honest about what the marketplace was telling me, and really, really real. Like one of my little litmus tests was I have a group of friends that I go out with. We all develop in the unscripted world. We get together, once a quarter or something like that for dinner. And forever we've all been working. And then slowly, one by one, we were not working. And now none of us had. And these are women who are incredibly skilled.
That's so amazing.
Long track records. And so it was clear, it's not me. It's not that people dislike me personally, because you can take it in that way.
Personalize it for sure.
And there are absolutely, my husband will tell you, there are absolutely days where I was taking it very personally.
Yeah.
But, at some point you have to, okay, let's look at the facts. Let's look at the marketplace. And how do I use my time and energy in the best way possible? Do I keep hitting my head against the wall looking for the job listings that are not showing up, or applying for those job listings that are ghosts? Is that the best use of my time? Or do I face reality and realize that, once you get to a certain level in an industry, it's a pyramid and there's just fewer seats. And those seats are taken. Maybe there's not a seat for me anymore. So then let's look at myself and see, what are those skills that I have, that I value and that I like to do? And how do I align that with some other job that maybe I didn't even know about? And so for me, I actually went and I got some career coaching from the Entertainment Fund, and sat through some of their classes and learned all about, different kinds of resumes and how different companies or different sectors look at entertainment. And it was really, really helpful just to go through that process and look at what are those transferable skills that I can use anywhere. And as a producer, there's a lot of them. And they're a bit of a mystery. If I were to go into the world of finance or something, they might not understand my resume. But when you break down the actual tasks that I did and the achievements that I had, you can change.
Yeah.
And once I got all of that information together, then you just start creating scenarios and saying, what if I do this? And then you listen to your gut.
I mean, what I admire about that, Liza, because you said, God, there's so much gold in there. There's all these little pearls of wisdom she's dropping. But is what I admire about that process, and again, when I think about the ask for an answer framework that I've been working on, is number one, you did not play the victim, which I think is huge. And I talk a lot about that in my coaching process. Is okay, you're not alone, but you're not a victim, right? It's not poor me. It's okay, I'm going to figure this out. And yeah, we all have those dark moments, and we all have these moments of doubt and, introspection. And our partners, our spouses all know those bad days when we have them. But you basically we're nope, I'm going to figure this out, right? I think the other pearl you dropped was the networking and staying in touch with your peers, with your circle. You also mentioned the peer circle in the Television Academy. I think that is really big wisdom for people, of being honest and vulnerable enough to be you know what, ask for an answer. Like, I don't have the answers, but I feel like in the collective, in this room, we might have some answers. So I'm going to get myself into these rooms. I'm going to get myself into these collectives. And I'm going to tap my community, and I'm going to listen, and I'm going to learn. I think that was huge. I think also the fact that you identified resources like the coaching through the education fund and stuff. I think so many people, especially people that have been on track for a long time and have been, quote, successful or had like a corporate job for a long time, they know those resources are there, but they've never had to access them before.
Right.
They don't know where to look for them. Again, I think that's an ask for an answer. It's like, okay, I've been doing this for so long. I've earned some benefits. I've earned some access to some things. I'm gonna go and access them. And when Disney bought Fox, prior to Archer Gray, when I was trying to figure out what I was doing, it was the first time in my life where I had been fully laid off and got like that severance pack, like the blue folder, right? But in there was outplacement assistance and resume writing assistance. And I'd always been on the other side of the table kind of handing out those blue folders. Like, I was, unfortunately, working in media, working in Hollywood, we did a lot of reorgs and a lot of layoffs. And so I knew kind of how to do it from the other side with like empathy and support. But I would always say, use the resources that are in this folder. They're here for a reason. They're provided as part of your severance package. All of a sudden, I was on the receiving end of that. And I was like, you know what? I got to open up this damn folder, and I'm going to use interview skills and resume writing and all that kind of stuff, because I think that I had gotten lazy about it. I really do. And so I admire you for, like, you did a lot of the things that I would coach people on, of like, again, accessing your community, accessing your collective, finding resources, finding education, like learning. I mean, I always talk about being a lifelong learner and staying constantly curious, and you did that. I mean, and I think, and then kind of through all that, you find Jessica, right? And you talked about the chocolate and the peanut butter. I mean, I think that's so important for people to realize. And you were doing this when you already had a very successful career, right? A lot of people are like, oh, that's something you do at the beginning of your career, right? And it's like, no, you're doing it basically all the time in your career.
You have to be doing it always, I think, because
Always. I agree with you.
And you're sort of like reaching up, over, out, and building that network, because you really, number one, it's important for yourself to understand like where you are in this, and to have like a little bit of commiseration so that you can like understand.
Misery loves company. I say that all the time.
Yeah.
Yeah. And no one else understands what you're going through but somebody like a peer.
Right.
Because unless your spouse is in the business, they don't really understand what you're going through. They can be empathetic, but they don't really understand. Well,
and even if your industry is not imploding, like, you might spot opportunity that way. And I've seen this pattern a lot in my business, where folks will be on the agency side, and they'll be agents at WME or CA, wherever, and they will spot talent that they represent, and then they realize, oh, they're invited over to run that talent's business. And I've seen enough agents do that, where they go from this sort of like agency to running a production company. And I think that that's a very smart move, when they realize, okay, I need to shift because there's opportunity there for me to do that thing. And they could always go back to, I mean, I don't know what their situation is.
Right.
But I think it's good to just know that what you're doing, we're not the 50s anymore. These jobs do not last forever. And it's not.
And by the way, you're going to have multiple jobs and multiple, like, I think, the whole, I'm going to work somewhere for 20 years and they're going to give me a gold watch and a retirement party. I just think those days are over. I mean, it's. And I also think another huge point you made, I just reminded myself, was you were doing fact-based decision-making, which I also admire. And again, I coach on. It's like, you were trusting your gut. Like, you did that combination of head and heart that I think is really, really important, because you have experience and you have wisdom and you have this intuition, but at the same time, you were doing fact-checking. You were like, am I right? Like, is my gut telling me that? Yeah, I think there's something here. I mean, I think that, whatever process you went through, it's really admirable because you really did do a lot of like the stuff that I coach on and the stuff that other career coaches would coach on. And I think it's a lot of that asking for an answer. A huge part of asking for an answer, this platform, is having the humility and the vulnerability to be like, I don't know. Like, I don't know. I think this, I don't know. Right. And I think for many of us that have been like you, successful leaders for a long time, we got rewarded for having answers, for like being Johnny on the spot and like anticipating everything. And a lot of the rules have changed.
Yeah.
And I think it's so important for people to remember to stay humble and to stay vulnerable and be like, I don't know, like something's going on in this market I don't understand. So I'm actually going to go humble myself to somebody and say, I'm going to take a course, or I'm going to go have a lunch with somebody, or I'm going to go to a collectively, you said the peer circle with the academy. I think that was so smart. Because I keep talking about like the wisdom of the room and the wisdom of the collective. I think some of these answers are so big, one person doesn't have them. Like it kind of comes out from the collective.
Yeah. And how can you be an expert in all of these things
I know, it's
all
crazy.
at once?
It's crazy. No, I mean, I think you're such a role model, on that. No, I really do. I'm so excited. So you've dropped so many pearls of wisdom, but first off, how was being a mom during all this, by the way? Because you are a mom, too.
Yeah.
You're a wife and mom and all that stuff, too.
Well, I think that I really enjoy being a parent. It's a lot of fun. Like, the kids are
they're at fun
really
ages.
fun ages.
Yeah.
And I have a great partner in my husband.
Yeah.
And I think that's another thing. Like, there are so many benefits to being in that dual income household situation. And he had his own
I remember.
pivot where he was in the tech industry for many years, bought a company, and has now been running that for 2+ years.
Yeah.
And so that's offered us some stability so that
You can explore.
I can explore.
Yeah.
And, I'm definitely not in a retirement
Yeah.
situation yet. I got to work. But it's given me a little bit of a buffer. And the kids are at an age, too, where, they're not little kids anymore.
Yeah.
So they can really take care of themselves.
Yeah.
And
How old are they now?
15 and 11. Copper's birthday's today.
Happy
So,
birthday, Copper. 15 and 11.
yeah. So I've got, 3.5 more years until one of them is in college. And
Is she a freshman?
She's a freshman.
Wow.
Yep.
It's amazing.
And she walks to school. She she's really quite independent.
Yeah.
So it's nice that I don't have to stress like I did when they were little and in daycare and having to run and do all the pickups and all of that kind of stuff.
Like the multitasking.
Yeah.
I mean, that's huge.
But I think it's really important for them to see, their parents working and solving problems and
Yeah, they've been raised. You've raised them in a dual income working parent household.
Yeah.
Like they definitely know that.
and they need to, they're going to be doing some sort of labor as well someday.
They're
in
going
a
to be
very changing
adulting. I
world.
say that all the time. Like, my nieces, it's hard to believe they're 25 and 22 now.
Oh, wow.
And I'm like, welcome to adulthood.
Yep.
Like, it's over. Like, now you're adulting. Like, everybody wants to grow up and get older. And I'm like, then all of a sudden you're there and it's like, might be nice to be back, be a kid right now. Like, it's quite fascinating. Well, what's one piece of wisdom or something I haven't asked you want to leave our listeners with? Something inspirational. It doesn't have to be huge. Don't worry.
Yeah. Yeah, I think the thing that always motivates me or drives me, and I've probably gotten this from a lot of people that I've worked with, is just serve the work. Like if you're looking for some direction, like what is the work asking for? And that could be the film, the TV show, the game, or whatever, but it helps me take myself out of the equation and stop being so selfish or
self-centered.
Yeah.
I love it. Serve the work.
serve the work.
That's good.
Yeah.
Oh my God, that's perfect. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Jim.
This was amazing. It went fast.
It did. I wanted to flip the tables on you and ask you all the questions.
No. I don't do that anymore. No, I'm kidding. Well, thank you so much for being here.
Thank you.
Congratulations. I'm excited about this phase you're in.
Yeah, thank you.
I'm really excited. All right, thank you.
All right.
Thanks for spending this time with us on Ask for an Answer. If this conversation sparks something for you, don't just nod and move on. Take one idea, one question, one uncomfortable and bring it into your next meeting, your next one-on-one, or your next big decision. That's how this becomes a practice, not just a podcast. If you're leading a team, a classroom, a company, or just your own next chapter, you don't have to have it all figured out. You do have to be willing to listen, to ask better questions, and to create the kind of safety where people will actually tell you what they see. If this episode was useful, share it with someone who's in the arena with you. And if you want more tools, stories, and real talk leadership moments, make sure you follow the show and leave a review so others can find us. I'm Jim Fielding. Thank you for being here, for leading with less armor and more intention. Until next time, stay curious, stay kind, and keep asking for an answer.